It's Sovieting time.
Well, you're the expert. You
Ha!
you live in the Polands.
I live in a commie block.
Do you?
Yes,
That's awesome.
I own a commie block apartment.
You own an apartment.
Yes.
Our apartment.
No,
Alright.
those times are over. I can explain to you how ownership of apartments worked in that time.
Well,
If you're
explain.
curious.
Don't explain to me. Explain to the audience.
Oh my God! Everyone wants to know.
Yeah.
All right. So, when the World War the sequel ended, Poland was not in a good place.
Right.
Millions of apartments were obliterated from existence. However, even though millions have died as well, not enough millions have died. So there were way more people than there were apartments. First idea of the government was to forcibly plant people inside other people's apartments. So if you're a homeowner, you just wake up one day and then 5 people arrive at your house because you have many rooms and you were not asked for your opinion. And then you're like, okay, what about rent? My investment is a little bit expensive. I live in a palace or tenement or anything. And they're like, every tenant pays the same rent, no matter if you live on a good place or a bad place. That's why many of the tenements were destroyed or like fallen into ruin, because the rent was very, very low. So being a house owner was not a good idea. Later, in 56 they said, okay, that was not a good idea. People live in conflicts, they're a little bit angry. So they decided to get rid of house ownership, but there was still the problem of, we had just had a demographic boom, because baby boom has happened all over the world. Not only Americans have baby boomers. After World War, a lot of people consummated their success, and there was a lot of baby coming, or they're here, they're growing old, and that was a problem because normal way of building buildings is very slow. Brick by brick will not suffice. At first it was just bad for years. People couldn't. When you wanted to get an apartment in a communist country, you had to go on a list, and then you wait for 15 years, and until that you live with your parents or just strangers that you don't know because you were moved to a stranger's house. But in the 70s, everything changed. They started under like this new guy called Gierek. They built a lot of house factories.
House factories.
Yes, they started building houses like IKEA furniture. Ready for assembly. You make this building block has only wall. This building block has door. This building block has window. This building block, it's not a block, it's an entire bathroom with door and utensils.
This sounds fun.
Yes, and the Lego block buildings were most popular because even though they were expensive to build, they were pretty modern. They provided a high standard of living, and that's what they just kept doing until communism was over in the 1990, or in Poland 89. What's funny, a lot of those Soviet bureaucrats are still alive. Imagine giving this game to them.
Oh God.
Seeing what would happen.
They'd probably get mad. They'd probably be like, this is not for us.
This is not frustrating enough.
Yeah, there's no committee meetings. I can just make things happen. That's kind of cheating. What's the name of our coal town?
Nowa, W-I-E-S. Wielka, W-I-E-L-K-A.
So
and
what?
Place a space bar between here. This means New Village Grand. New Village is like Springfield of USA. This is the most common name for a new village in Poland. There are 62 new villages in Poland. There's 62 places named New Village.
That sounds...
New projects too. Yes, there's also Zła Wieś, which is just evil town.
What?
We have that.
Why?
I have no idea. But I lived next to one. It was evil.
What do you mean it was evil? You're gonna have to explain that.
It's in the name. It's literally in the name. There is also a city called Vodka, and the city sign was stolen so many times that they started putting RFID chips in it. There was also a city called Dry Pussy.
What?
There was also a city next to it, next to the Dry Pussy. There was a village called Miscarriage.
So let's psychoanalyze Poland for a bit. You guys doing all right?
Not some like depend on where you ask. There's a bunch because a very big dream of every Polish person is to be acknowledged by someone who speaks English. So knowing this, there are a few entrepreneurs on English-speaking YouTube that keep making videos. Oh my God, Poland is such a great place, and it just keeps getting better and better and more, like playing into the insecurity of Polish people. So they like generate infinite views from Polish people by just making videos titled "Poland is better than ever. Poland is so strong. Next big superpower worldwide. Poland 2024?" Question mark. So that's a business. That's a good business model.
What?
Okay, so you're really building brick flats.
That's I'm limited by my technology, brother.
Yes, because it's the year 1960. Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, that you're limited by that. It's respect. Oh my God. What about sunlight?
What is this?
Even in Soviet Poland, we had sunlight regulations.
What?
Every apartment should have at least one room when sunlight between the hours of 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Every apartment should be given at least 3 hours of direct sunlight into the window. That's why in the new architect software you can measure the sunlight very, very precisely, and that's why we can build building closer to themselves than ever, because we can calculate to the 1 pixel of sunlight. Oh, this small shape of sun is still sunlight, still counts, even though you can directly look into the window of your neighbor. Those buses, those cucumber-shaped buses, they actually have curtains on the windows inside, and a lot of people were smoking cigarettes inside buses at that time. Some of those buses still exist in either very poor villages or as tourist attractions.
What,
and those
the smoking? I will wait for the smoking bus.
Smoking or non-smoking bus? I will take the smoking one, please. So those are very that's permanent dirt.
Oh yeah, you'd have to get in there with a paint scraper to remove the nicotine.
Yeah, those curtains are solid. They're more smoke than
when you take the curtains out, they crack.
Yes.
Look, I made a pub.
Oh.
And I made a grocery store that has electronics. That's a whole other topic. Eastern Bloc consumer electronics are some of the most dangerous and terrifying things I've ever seen. There's no ground interrupt or breakers on anything.
No. How to turn on Soviet electronic? Plug it into the wall. Yes.
Yeah, there's no power switch. There's nothing yet. So you have a waffle iron that you put into the wall, and the lights dim instantly, and it may trip the breaker because it's just now full on. you know?
Oh no. The breaker thing is because all of the cabling was done in aluminium, and it was very thin. That's why the breakers always like tripped, because all of those commie blocks have aluminium wiring, and it's very bad.
This sounds really dangerous.
Yes, but the breakers were very like it wasn't dangerous because first of all the cables were in concrete, so if they start to burn, concrete doesn't burn. Secondly, those breakers like proc really easily, so you know you would never get to that point. Another fun fact about electronics: when it comes to waffle irons, like those sandwich irons, you know, the
Panini press.
yeah, the press, like they still don't sell them with an on switch.
What
They're
is-
still in Poland. They like I never seen a panini press with a switch. It's always like plug into the wall. They don't have an off option.
It's always on.
It's always on.
It's you better be ready to make some fucking paninis.
That's why I was so surprised when you guys reviewed the hot dogger on the stream.
Oh, no need, Goat.
You know
I
what
actually brought
you
something
know-
here for us to cook this with.
You know what
There's
I
no
like?
need for you to start up the stove.
No.
What do you mean, no? I haven't even brought it out yet. You don't even know what I'm talking
I
about.
know exactly what you're doing.
Oh my God.
Dun, dun, dun,
You fucker.
Dun, dun,
You
dun.
motherfucker. No.
Dun,
No.
dun, dun,
It was meant to be sealed
dun,
away in the tomb of the ancients.
Dun, dun,
It was
the
not meant-
hot
no.
dogger comes presto made. It unsafe.
Oh,
Disregard that little bite in the wire there. I'm sure that's fine. Just plug
Oh,
it
yeah,
right
that's
in,
right.
Mike. And if this
that's a little bite in the wire. Yeah. So
Was it
yeah.
fire extinguisher again?
don't
So
worry
it's
about
right
it.
over there.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Back in
Yeah.
a year ago, some time ago, I was so like you guys were so spooked. Oh my god, it plugs directly. There's no controls. Like I was like, that's normal. That's like a panini press. What's so weird about it? Nothing ever happened to me with like that. When it comes to burning themselves, my only thing that I have an association with in my brain with burning oneself is the electric. Fuck, how do you call it? Electric blanket. I never understood the purpose of that. That sounds like burning yourself.
It does. They start a lot of fires. Okay, it looks like some of the people are getting into the things they want culture now. God, these people need so much. All right, now I have to give these people their own stores and a bar because nothing mixes like coal mining and alcohol.
Why is that? Why can't they just choose other drugs?
Why can't they drink at work? I know what you're saying.
Can you build like higher end apartments?
Yes, in time. I have to unlock that ability.
Because like the directors and police officers wouldn't live in those shitty brick ones.
You're like, well, but that's beneath us.
Yeah, like there are many tiers of commie blocks, and
Of course, some people are more equal than others, comrade.
yes, some would have cars and others would not.
I'm not going to give these people cars.
Like
That won't
worker-
be my roads.
Worker doesn't need a car. Like his schedule is optimized with the bus because they're both planned by the same people. But
You're like, I'm late for work, and they're like, no, you're not.
no, you're not. We calculated both of those things. But if you're a director, you need a car. You need to make important decisions, and you have to be places. So that's why cars still existed in the Soviet Union, because
I think this is a relatively walkable city.
exactly. So it's. How'd you compare it to your location in Redacted? Is it more walkable than that?
Oh, this is way more walkable than where I live. Like, if I don't have a car here, I'm fucked.
Hmm.
But I would say that's most American cities. There's not a lot of places that are walkable. We celebrate at the altar of Henry Ford. Every man has a car or two.
I think you don't need a fire department in the coal village. Everyone knows how to handle coal. They live by it. They have it in their bloodstream.
Yes, they do.
Even the children who never visited the mines.
I had a friend who had a Trabi. He also had a Wordbird. I did not drive the Trabi, but I rode in it. We went to the gas station and we filled it up with the cheapest gas. And he says that this gas is way richer than anything that it would have run on in the GDR. And I'm like, that's horrifying. So then we get into this car and we get to the gas station. We open the hood because that's where the gas tank is. We put the gas in, and then we have to put in a whole bottle of two-stroke oil because it's like a lawnmower. And so we pour the oil in with the gas, and then we have to both grab it by the fender and rock the car back and forth to mix the oil and gas.
Yes, all up to code.
Right. And so we get in this piece of shit, and as soon as we fire it up and get out of there, it is just a smoke cloud. It felt
Those are-
like a four-wheeled lawnmower.
Those are the worst cars ever made.
They're up there. I mean, anything worse than them would not be called a car, right? Anything worse than them, they'd be like, oh, that's a tractor.
Yeah, it's a sad excuse. Like I can't even make a joke like about them because they're just so depressing.
There's a really funny, it's not supposed to be funny, but I've shown it a few times in the BPL. It's on YouTube. They have a video of them making the Trabant
Oh yes.
that is from the factory, less than 10 years before the collapse of the GDR. And you can see that, not only is it just made out of crap, but when they get to the final stage where they're doing, the finish work on it, where they're having to...
Craft car.
Yeah, there's a guy with a hammer, literally bending and hand fitting parts so the door closes right. And he'll lean on the door and yank on it, and oh yeah, now it's bent straight-ish.
It's early access car.
Oh my god. Well, I know the Poland made some interesting cars, Polonaise, which...
No, fuck. Polonaise is like a joke because it came out so late and it was so ancient by the point it came out. It's horrible. My mom used to drive it, and once when she picked me up from kindergarten, the muffler was sitting on the chair right next to me because it fell out of the because it was so rusty. They were horrible. They were not cheap. They were a sad excuse for a car. Maluch is way better. Recently, do you know which? With a Fiat 126P. You know that
no,
car.
the Fiat 126 and 124s were made by, I think, all the commie blocks, because the 124 or the 126, I don't know which, was the basis for the Lada, the most successful Lada ever. And I'd love to have one of those. I think that'd be a cool car to have, because you can't kill them.
The Lada was based on the Fiat 125 and the Maluch, which is the tiny one, the 126. Recently there was a Fiat, the Maluch convention in my city, so there were 200 of them on the street, in a parade. It was wonderful. Everyone was different. Some of them had suicide doors. Some of them would be off-road configuration. It's just like Ladas. When I was in Ukraine, the Ladas were just everywhere. I was mostly in the countryside though. When I was in the mountains, I saw, because there's a lot of people picking up berries there, as they just have them in huge bags. They use giant combs to gather industrial number of berries. I saw a 4x4 Lada configuration. They were beautiful cars. Yeah.
No, I saw one of my favorite things that I saw was I knew a guy who had, like I said, a few Soviet cars, and he had Soviet tires on them. Still had USSR on the tires, and I was like, are these original tires? And he goes, yeah. And I said, the Soviet Union collapsed 1989. What the fuck? These are the original tires. And he goes, yeah. And I said, so you never drive this thing, right? You baby these tires. And he goes, no. I drive on them twice a week. And I go, so you have had like 40-year-old tires on this fucking car and they're still good? And he goes, can't get rid of them. Like they're made out of concrete.
Soviet technology, it either breaks on the first day of use or never.
So yeah, I've got a Soviet city that is wow. Lifespan
90%.
80.9.
Satiated.
98%, 26% alcohol addiction, but 80.9 is my lifespan. I think that's pretty fucking good, bud.
Can you give me the happiness meter again? Can you show me that?
Sure.
Alcohol addiction 26%, religion sympathy 18%. It's a good percentage. There was this, yeah, we have both in Poland, like church density and bar/alcohol store density. They're about at the same. There's one study showing that like we have one alcohol store per 600 people.
Good lord.
I recently watched a movie about the 70s Polish copper mining. It's grim. They used a process called flotation, and it used a lot of water. The water that you get from those flotation tanks, it's dead. It's like it can never return to the system again, and they just store it in those huge fake lakes of dead water, of metal water, and they're still here, and they're huge. And like there's more and more of them, and sometimes the walls of those, because they grew taller and taller, so they, instead of building a new fake dead lake, they just build like sand walls for it to make it higher. And sometimes those sand walls burst, so you get huge tidal wave of dead metal water flooding your small countryside village, and it's a very, very scary concept. I hope it never happens again. Soviet housing is great. You're close to all your neighbors. But Soviet Republic is not only Eastern Europe. It's many different places in the entire world, and every one of them is cooperating. You know what they also traded? Furniture, rugs,
Okay.
and different stuff.
Right.
And on those objects, on those pieces of stuff, there can be insects that you import into your dense commie block with thousands or hundreds of inhabitants.
Uh-huh.
And that's how you get Egyptian pharaoh ants, a tiny, tiny creature. Those ants are smaller than a hole in your key. Not even smaller, like a pin. They're tiny, and they can't survive outside. They can only survive inside the commie block. So once your rug from Iran or Persia or Libya or Egypt arrives, because we love those rugs, and we made some of them here, but a lot of them were imported. Or furniture, when we import our Libyan friends or partners furniture, we get some cool Sahara bugs, and they were everywhere. To this day, many commie blocks are infested with ants, and they infiltrated them so deep it's almost impossible to run them out. So that's a little fun fact that you probably didn't know about. That we have our own Egyptian ants that are trapped inside like their commie block reality, and they can't get out.
Good lord. Look, okay, so this is the high occupancy housing.
Jesus Christ.
Look at that. What a nightmare. If I did that, my city would be just flooded, but I could put this whole city in that block.
What was that name of that Hong Kong neighborhood?
Kowloon Walled City.
They should mod it into the game.
What about this?
Złota 44. This building is mostly used to get it rented out for photo shoot of hot ladies.
What? So it's a tourist trap.
Not really tourist trap. It's just a Instagram model trap.
Oh, well, I'm building 3 of them.
Fuck.
Yeah, think about that.
Oh, what's that?
fire station. We're gonna need it.
What for?
Well,
For all the fire.
I was gonna say we have this industry
I haven't seen any fires in this game yet.
yet.
Well, I mean, I remember that one conversation you had with Deb about, like, there's so many wrecks per, amount of, cars moving around. It's like there's going to be such amount of fire for the amount of industry we're going to be outputting.
Correct.
Do you even have streetlights?
That sounds like a very dangerous question.
Breathe with your teeth closed. That filters out the coal dust.
Look, everyone is happy, more or less. It's a happy town.
Everyone is happy. We sent the commissars to make sure of it.
Yeah, now we're selling bitumen. Look at that.
Such an amateur mistake. Commissars were only for the military. This is a civil, nice, picturesque even town. You can go to the shore,
Yeah, you can go to shore,
the tree spot,
the tree spot.
the mountain,
Everything is singular.
the rail track.
Because every time the train's going there, it's making less and less money because they can't keep up. You sons of bitches.
Where's the cemetery?
There. Look, these two high rises will give me more workers for the refinery, which will increase my outputs, which will let me make more money. Next, I need to build a radio station so I can capitalize on people's fear of the outside world.
Did you just say capitalize?
Oh boy. Then just get dragged away.
Goat.
Yes.
Do you have any Yugoslavia facts?
Man, putting me on the spot here. I can't think of anything right now. Sorry.
I would love
Okay.
to see a city builder game set in South America, where you have to
Yeah.
play through dictatorial regimes and then Western opening up and then dictatorial regimes. So there's like a night and day cycle, you know?
That's terrible.
Yeah, like you're the city builder, but you have to answer to the regime, whatever it is. And every 10 years, the regime changes and it's randomized.
And in the end, the only thing you actually choose is what the color of the favela is.
No, that's the one thing you don't get to choose.
Oh.
Is the favelas are all, you think the state has anything to do with building those? That's just people building that shit with whatever they can get, like it's Kenshi or Minecraft or something.
Fucking Kenshi, Brazil.
Yeah, it is.
Oh no.
I was almost
roving
saying to text
down to like everyone, learns martial arts and, rows around and gets in fights.
The mine rocks.
More like they pull out of construction sites and shit. No, if South America, yeah, it is. But it's jank. Nothing seems to work. No, it wouldn't just be dictatorship democracy, because that doesn't change that rapidly. It would be more like you'd have like state interventionist party, and then like the very liberal, we just do whatever the IMF and other international financial institutions want party. And then occasionally you can get into the wackier socialism or, far right dictatorship style stuff.
Nice.
But yeah,
your money.
favelas will just pop up in places where you don't want them to.
Oh yeah, and you look. Yes, it's like in Isaac when you lose hearts, you can no longer refill them, but for parts of your city.
Oh no, people. I mean, there's in cases where it's like they suddenly want to build on that land, and suddenly the favela just burns down. It's crazy.
It's crazy how it happens.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy, man.
Look,
Yeah.
we finally got workers full. Well, we had it for a second.
Tex, you're running out of money.
I know.
You have 20,000 ruble.
Hey, they're giving you the rubles. You're going to use the whole rubles.
Oh my god, your money is back.
Yeah, because the oil exports. I mean, we're barely keeping pace with it, but it's a start.
Oh yeah, you're doing the famous oil dependency gambit in socialist oil dependency gambit in socialist states.
Surely the price of oil will never change.
like dead ass.
Surely.
You want me to be like amazed and wow about environmentalism and all this. Tell me how it makes money. Then we can start talking about environmentalism.
It's like it reminds me of that AI meme. Oh,
Look
you're
at the people.
they're going to work and stadium.
Oh my god, look at this.
Zoom in even more. Look at all the trash on the floor.
They have nowhere else to go but work.
Oh god, the sidewalk is just trash.
It's all cigarettes. Cigarettes.
It's cigarettes and like compressed ground glass from vodka bottles.
So what we need to do next is get into the tourism game.
No, don't stop. You're combining tourism and oil dependency for a socialist republic.
This is
A
never-
classic blunder.
This will be fine. Why are you so worried?
Maduro wants to talk to you.
Everything will be fine.
Fun Polish fact. When
Number
World
5.
When World War II ended, there was a lot of abandoned real estate. What would you do with that? You would redistribute it around for the people, so everyone could get a house if they were fast enough. And
Wait,
and
if they were fast enough.
you just need to find an empty house, go to it, and say to the government, "Hey government, this house empty, I am in it," and they are like, "Okay." Earlier in the recording, I talked about redistribution of new developments, since there was always a shortage of houses. And you would have to go sign up on a list, and they will basically say, "See you later. You are on a list waiting for the house. You get it for free since you are a working man." And sometimes you wait for 15 years, sometimes you wait for 5 years. They would sign up newborn babies on the list, so they don't have to wait their entire lives. But depending on the work you did, you were on a different tier. For example, if you're a normal, I don't know, bus driver, you get a two-room apartment max for your entire family. But if you're like a more esteemed job, like a teacher, you get one more room for your apartment. Or a head nurse, you can even get a 4-room apartment. That's what my grandparents did. My grandpa was a teacher and my grandmother was a nurse, so they get a four-room apartment, a luxury thing. So that's you could tier yourself with your career choice. That was like fun, nice thing. You obviously had to wait for it, but you get a house upgrade for free. And then when the Soviet Union falls apart, you actually get to keep it and it's yours. So our baby boomers had it even better because they didn't have to buy a house at all, unlike your American ones. That's a funny Polish fact. What do you think about that?
It's not
That's
bad. It's not
So,
bad.
so what you're saying, we need to collapse another Soviet Union so that I can get a free house?
That's how they
Real
did it.
shit.
Can any of you give me a rare Cleveland fact?
Cleveland fact? All right, so Cleveland's river once caught on fire.
No, that's a common.
No.
Cleveland fact.
Let me continue, please.
Yes.
As you know, Cleveland's river caught on fire, and so I thought that was hilarious. But what's funnier is when I went to Cleveland, the city of Cleveland has its own store chain called the Cleveland Store. And if you go into the Cleveland Store, they have a book by that guy who's saying Fun Times in Cleveland again. He's got a book in that store you can buy. But they also have a t-shirt that I almost bought that says Cleveland, River Surfers Club, and it's a skeleton on fire. I think you can probably find this online. But yes, there's...
What's the name? It's Cleveland Surfer Club?
Cleveland Store. Just go look at that. But yeah, it's... Cleveland is capitalized on being weird.
Every time I show Mike a picture of Poland's Polish city, he always says, "This looks like Cleveland." Every time.
Yeah, it's not that dissimilar. All right, so I finally got the ability to build pipelines. Soviet countries.
So building oil pipelines, will that immediately increase the support from the West?
You know that.
Will that increase Western tourism, coincidentally?
You mean like, will the CIA show up?
I mean, they are Western tourists in this case.
It is interests. It is Western interests.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't need that kind of inquiry into what we're doing. I'll be like, no, we're good. Please don't. Please. We're good. I beg of you. We're fine.
What's that you got there?
Yeah.
It smells pretty good.
Yeah, I'm like, please leave us alone.
It smells like freedom is needed.
No, we're fine.
How are you?
Wait, shit.
All right.
It sounds like it's time for another good old-fashioned NATO intervention.
How to show up on the Security Council in 10 minutes. Oh crap, I'm an agenda item.
Oh fuck, not again.
Okay. Concept. Soviet Hogwarts.
No. Could you imagine if Hogwarts was just a massive commie block? Instead of the staircases being like magic and like turning left and right, it's just those like rectangular balconies that slide up and down like exterior elevators.
This is horrifying.
Instead of the whatever that hat is that assigns you what house you're in, it's an Ushanka that assigns you a job and a tenement.
What do you think the 4 houses would be called in Soviet Harry Potter?
Fuck, I have to. I'm not up to date on my. What was it? Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and
in Soviet Harry.
No. I'm trying to remember the actual names.
Gryffindor and I think Slytherin, right?
Yeah. Oh my god, asking the hard questions. So let's start with Slytherin. Would be United States of America.
Nah, the houses would just be different, like industrial types of industry. Like there would be the agricultural house, the construction house.
That's two, but they would just be different member states. It would just be, this is Yugoslavia house. This is
Lenindor.
Ukraine.
Lenindor.
Lenindor.
But yeah. So what you're presenting, Goat, is more of a what was that teenage book? Hunger Games. Hunger. Yeah.
Wait,
Hunger Games is Soviet Harry Potter. Actually, for real.
No cap.
No, not gonna
That's
lie.
kinda-
On God.
Bro's spitting.